welcome to the February 16th milestone review. This is the second milestone for the spring 2018 semester, so welcome to everybody on ground and online. So first thing I'm going to go over is the agenda Lynn told me to go over. So first off, we've got the Game Jam sponsored by Wade & Kane Studios. That's a alumni studio that's here in the Valley. It's going to be March 2nd through the 4th, so that's another opportunity to come out, make something new or work on your own games for the Jam. Get 48 hours of really solid development. It's something that everybody recommends. Do you guys know if you're doing extra credit for that?
Maybe.
Yes.
So, maybe and yes.
Sure.
We've then got spring break on March 5th through the 9th. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're not going to have to do any sort of work over that week because it's 16 weeks this semester, including spring.
Not a week. There's 15 weeks plus spring break.
Yeah.
So it's a complete break week. The only thing I would recommend is, and the next agenda item that Don's going to hit on is GDC is also coming up. You know, if a bunch of your team's going to be gone for GDC, you could use at least some of the spring break to make sure you're not falling behind. But yeah, it is. There's no requirements to turn anything in over spring break.
And then, like Derek said, GDC, it's the 19th of March through the 23rd. Have you guys settled on if you're taking the UAT van?
There is a van going. I think it's pretty full. Hugh and George are the ones to contact on that. Let's throw George under the bus. He's not here. Contact George. I'm not sure how many seats or if there's seats left at this point. But yeah, we're going. Hugh and George are both going. So if you're there, I highly recommend that you get Hugh and George's contact information, because they'll be at the show. So if anything would happen, or whatever, they're definitely good to hook up with them. Adam as well. Adam Moore is going. Kayla is going. She works back there. I don't know if she. I can't remember. And Ashley from Career Services is going. I'm not 100% sure of her. So we should have a good contingent there. I think Adam already ran the IGDA sessions. We should probably start somewhere if you are going to GDC to trade each other's contact information, right? The more people you know there, the easier it is to have somebody ping you like, hey, I happen to be meeting with Will Wright right now. You want to come over? Because that kind of stuff happens. So get involved if you can.
And then I believe we're still in the period where the earliest early bird special for getting the passes is done, but I think they've got another one that I think it's until next week.
I'm not sure. There might still be one that's like better than just showing up and buying it. Last I looked, I think it's up to like $250 now. Do you remember, Hugh?
I don't know what it's at.
I think the Expo Pass is at $250 now. Is that what it is? Yeah, it wasn't $150, now it's at $250. Yeah, you're running out of discounts at this point.
Let's see. The next, it ends at March 17th is when they're going to be then going up, and you're only going to be able to get them on site. So you've got pretty much up until the thing starts. And then apparently, I imagine this is true for Lynn. Derek's probably a maybe, whether or not you're going to be getting extra credit for posting stuff about GDC for your assignments.
Sure, why not? We get enough extra credit and you won't actually have to build anything.
So we've then got...
GDC's worth it, absolutely. It's frozen.
Is it still frozen?
Yeah.
Oh, it's up on the top right. There we go.
So definitely read the requirements for getting extra credit. There are requirements rather than just going. So read the requirements before you go. Take notes, whatever you need to do to make sure that you're fulfilling the requirements for your extra credit points.
And sitting in your dorm for a week and just watching, like IGN's coverage of GDC doesn't count as going to GDC. You have to actually go to GDC.
But it's free though.
That's the way I'm going this year. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a great show. One that's not on that as well, but we don't have hammered down dates, but towards the end of the term we're also going to run probably a green light jam as well. So we'll have 3 game jams this term. So we'll give you more details on that when it gets closer.
Then we've got, for designers, you have to submit by April 16th for the form, but we've got the Smithsonian American Art Museum. They're looking for submissions for their the art of video games, I guess you call it an exhibit or display. They're theme for this exhibit is game spaces. So if you look at the requirements, it's interesting uses of space, board, level design. Basically, if it's something that might excite a kind of fancy architect in what you're doing, that's kind of who they're taking their inspiration from with Christopher Totten. So those are the types of things that they're looking for. So if you have anything in your portfolio that might go well for that, or anything that you're currently working on, it's a great way to put a little gold star on whatever that thing on your portfolio is and say, hey, I was in the Smithsonian Art Museum, and that's going to likely impress anybody that's looking through your portfolio like that.
If you're chosen, they will pay you also.
Money is good.
That's it. When's the cutoff for submissions for that?
April 16th. And then we've got Phoenix Comic Con coming up. You've also got, there's gameconferences.com, which you can go to, which just has the list of every single conference. So if any of the teams are looking at events that they want to go to, or if you just yourself are looking at events, you do sometimes run into other game folks at these events, or at least smaller indie folks, depending on what event you're going to. And that's often a pretty good way to do some minor networking and have some fun going to like Comic-Con and whatnot. And then that brings us to what we're going to be doing today, which is our milestone review. So today, in addition to the build reviews that we're going to be doing here, which leads, remember, you're about 5 to 7 minute time limit on those, so that way we can get through these quickly and get back out. You're also going to want to sit down with your teams, do your Scrum planning meeting, figure out what tasks you're going to be working on for the next 3 weeks. The quicker you get all that sorted out today, the faster you can start getting worked on it, and the more likely your next milestone will be even better. As well as make sure to review your social media if there's places that you can be using it more, if there's places that you can also be connecting with the other projects and other people in general. Make sure to try and do that as much as you can. You don't want to wait until your game's releasing to actually have a social media audience. And then just again, leads, make sure you have your standalone executables or your text documents, in my case, on the computer, so that way it's backed up. That's what's going to be great for all the students. So make sure you have that and don't screw your team over. And with that, I think we're starting with, I can't read that. What does it say? Graffiti. So I'll hand it over to you, and you can come up and show your stuff, and hopefully it'll be really cool.
So while graffiti comes up, a couple things that you might want to think about. Over the summer, we're going to be running a VR/movie making style class. Hugh's going to be working on it. It'll probably be some kind of instructor invite/approval only. Doesn't want to put a really good team together, but if it's something you're interested in, start thinking about it. The idea being that you're in a VR helmet and watching a movie as it goes by, like a 3 to 5 minute thing. There's also, we're working on putting a HoloLens course on the summer schedule as well. Probably be Tony and George. So look for those kind of things as well. And if you haven't invited me to your social media, to your Twitter, please do.
All right, volume down.
I have a quick question.
George?
Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody said something about coming up with a systems design class.
We have one that we're working on. I'm not sure if it's going to run over the summer or not.
When does it sound like that'll be done?
Maybe fall. I don't know. Just check with me after. I have this. I have at least the summer schedule tentative in my head.
So, hello, I'm Dakota Stoner, as most of you already know. And this week for Gangs of Graffiti, we worked on trying to get a lot of the art implemented, and we did a lot of behind the scenes building for what turf tag's going to be, started implementing that. We unfortunately didn't get that all the way in there. I wasn't able to get all the art in for the build either. So this vehicle's kind of hard to drive. Still working on getting the actual tank updated. But here's some of the art that our two artists have been working on. We got the comic book buildings that James has been working on, and some tanks that Jeff's been working on. And very simple this week. We have shooting, and one sec. We have shooting, and we don't have it able to paint the buildings and all of that. We're still working on that. But next week we are wanting to, this next sprint, I'm wanting to actually get the painting in and teams working, so we can actually show off what turf tag is, getting an actual lobby in, because I hate the GUI that it has, and hopefully getting James demo level with all of his art assets in too. So yeah.
Hey, I'm Todd. You all know me by now. Sorry my voice is a bit scratchy today. Thank you. So I'm just gonna build another really quick demo bot again so we can get to the good stuff. Got some new art assets implemented. Okay, so a lot of the work we've done this sprint is revamping the state machine editor. So you notice there's no longer drop downs inside of these menus. What you can do instead is go to this other UI, add the action, and the drop downs are here, but you can also just drag the pieces into the UI to make it easier for the players to just kind of understand what's going on and that sort of thing. And it keeps track of what you've put in there so that it doesn't go away. I'll stop on the way back through.
That was blurry. You did it. Yeah.
Cool. And then I've been doing some work on the level, just kind of tweaking some things. So, that shouldn't be there. Yeah, totally a feature. You can see things. And you know, all of this is still how it was. So really the big changes were the state machine editor, and you can now add multiple conditions for transitioning between states, things like that. Just really working on the usability of the state machine. In this next sprint we're going to work on the usability of the bot builder, make it a lot cleaner and easier to use. That's it.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Boggs, and this is Nico. We'll be showing you Buzzkill. Oh, really got to turn it down because I'm short. So, second here. We have a lot of things put in from last build. To start with, we have our logo. We have a second concept that we're using as a death scene. Is the volume on right now for the computer? Okay. We also added a soundtrack. Whoa. Okay, so you can see our art is implemented. The game takes a little bit to really get started, we have our B, which is Ego. Atlas is following him. We have a projectile sting, which is going to be having an under arc, kind of like the bottom half of a circle. We have sting abilities, we have projectiles, and a lot of our enemies have been implemented. At the top, oops, I'm going to die. You can see our scores climbing, and that'll save locally for each machine. That's the death scene. But I'm trying to find a power-up to show you, because we also have a stability power-up as well as a speed boost that we've set to hopefully spawn here pretty quick. It's fun. It's like a shield. So let's bear with us. Oh, actually, did you want to play?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's our... Yep. And I died. I'm sorry. Nico's
take
better
over.
at this. Yeah, go ahead. I need you to help us before the characters come on the screen. So, yes, unfortunately I died.
Oh, that's not a good position to be in.
No. You can see our characters are a little bit skewed from their lanes, but that's going to be fixed. And then by the next sprint, we're going to have different projectiles for them, as well as an upward arc. So those won't be shot like bullets anymore, but they will be, each one will have its own unique stats.
They were hacking.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh good. There you go.
Yeah, I thought I was screwed there.
Okay, so this is our shield, and so if he gets hit, the dog doesn't progress forward, so it's kind of like a free, let yourself get hit once.
Yeah, okay. I'll get hit by that one. I wanted to go for a high score, but you know, you gotta show what we got. I understand. Oh, there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, and we also have our try again function and return to main screen. So that's what we have.
I've already set that.
Right, I am not quite in shot here. Perfect. Hi, Ian here, project lead for Firebreak. So, we actually got quite a few good things done for our build as well. Well, not that. So, first thing is, we got a HUD. We got a full HUD. It's got functionality. I believe it's G to lower your health and H to lower your stamina here. And as well as getting some introductory animations for the player character, as well as holding an invisible gun that shoots little death balls still. But you might be wondering where all the levels and stuff are. Well, we got a level selector. Kind of. It's more like a main menu at this point. But we got a couple levels to work with. Currently we got the player ship, at least the start for all of its white boxing. Fully explorable. We've got a few props, and we're going to be organizing a bit more of our white box, rounding out the ship a bit, making it look a lot nicer. And we also have our first pass for our first mission. This is your little friend. He can't really be interacted with. You can collide with him. And you can also use G and H to inversely lower your health or his stamina, or your stamina and his health. So if you want to kill your friend or kill yourself and leave your friend alive, that's your choice. Another wonderful thing that we did is the inventory. So you have a gun, but if you press E, we have a little test thing to show that you do melee. So right now, you shoot chrome pizzas, because it's the future, and we decided that temporarily you're going to be a pizza delivery guy. So for the first mission, you can go around and I guess deliver pizzas instead of going around and killing any people. So that's what we got right now. A whole bunch of white boxing in place and a first draft for the mission. Going into our next build, we're going to be adding a bit more character to our maps as well as the characters themselves. Lots of AI, making better animations for all of our characters, and getting this first draft to look a lot more like a lived-in level. But that's pretty much what we got, and we hope to see you for our next sprint.
My name is Alex Wall. I'm lead for Ren and Rebellion. First off, I'd like to show off some of the art that we have, that we've been working on that we don't have implemented because it's not done yet, and then I'll get into the build. So most of our goals for this sprint is kind of to get like user experience more thoroughly worked out, work on the characters, and finish off some of the things for our main level. First thing I'd like to show off is Matthew Dubois' character that he's working on right now. This is our Farno class, which is our tinkerer. She runs around with a hammer and puts down like medical devices and traps and whatnot. Next we have Caleb Hawking working on animations for us, getting our own animations in. He's been in the animation room for the last 2 Fridays, and he'll be in there today working on some other animations. Next we have John Goodall. He's been kind of reworking one of our buildings because we didn't have a lot of like molding and like some pillars and whatnot to like really round out the building. So he's been working on that, trying to get that finalized. And then last we have our character, our UI artist and our concept artist. They've been working on some stuff, working closely with Daryl, trying to get some of the stuff for our UI and our concepts done. So one of the big things that I want to show off in the build today is we've been working on a lot of our endgame loop, and we basically have basically all of it working, and I want to show that off, what Chase has been working on. One of the other things that Chase has been working on is our server basically join screen. Their server list basically, if when other games are on, you can join them if you want, or you can create your own game. Right now there's no game, so I'll have to create my own. Right here we have our Cora class, which is supposed to be our long-range sniper. You can see that she has our new gun-in that John Goodall worked on. It's her sniper right now. One of the other things that has been worked on is a lot of the lighting and optimization of the map. We're running at a pretty good FPS right now. We're about 50 frames. We would like to get it above 60 frames, but it's a lot better than it used to be. And then if you see in the bottom right corner, we have a mini map and it's working. So let me capture a flag real quick. And then when you win the game, you'll get to a win screen basically. In the future, it'll be a lot different than this. We'll actually have like a 3D screen of like the winning team and whatnot. And then we have a disconnect button, which will put you back into the login screen. That's pretty much it.
Hello everybody, I'm Donald Cheppis, the lead for Trident. I don't have any new jokes about making paper builds today, but that's essentially what we have. Again, we'll be asking for 5 new volunteers, so not the same people from last time, 1 from each team. We're going to be stealing you for probably about 3 hours to run our playtest. For this milestone, we've had a major overhaul over the Kaiju, or the Leviathan and Trident generation systems, as well as core combat. So now we're should be at about that 50%. You know, the Leviathan player and the Trident players are on equal footing. No one has too many insane advantages over the other. That's tied in with our new coordination system to make the conventional unit something that's actually more usable, and also something that is a resource you want even towards the end game, so that way they're not getting outclassed by the early advancement of the Leviathan. So we're doing a playtest. You'll be seeing most of that. We've also got some revamps for the Leviathan abilities and the Trident Trident equipment. We're also trying out presenting that information 2 different ways. The Tridents have much more ordered lists. You know, it's stat, colon, description, whereas the Leviathans are just description. We're doing that because we're trying to see how much of a psychological divide we can create between the Trident players and Leviathan players. If when you're going through one book, it doesn't feel or read or look like the other book, then we're helping to create that kind of psychological competition right as you're just reading the rules, as opposed to waiting until you're actually playing to start amping up that drive. On the digital side, we've got a number of tools that are ready to go. We just need to package them together into an environment that's usable. But we're going to blow my initial projections out of the water as far as a digital build is concerned. I'm going to have that for you for next milestone. We've got dice rolling. We've got a lot of work on our back end with PlayFab, so that way you can actually save equipment, save characters, things like that, as well as dynamic UI systems, so that way the designers can go in and quickly build out all the UI panes without having to actually have a programmer go in and sit down and work with them to do that. So like I said, we're going to be in our usual spot over by the between the large window and the library. We're going to be looking for one volunteer from each of the teams. Talk with your leads again, because we are stealing you for like 3 hours, because we want to get a pretty comprehensive play test, get a bunch of battles done. But that's what we're looking forward to doing today, and thank you.
Out of curiosity, do you work? Hopefully, sorry, give me just 1 minute. I want to make sure this works. Works well enough. Okay, good morning, guys. We've had an amazing second sprint with Communication Meltdown, so I'm going to start by showing a short video of some of our progress, and then I'll kind of come back and talk through it. There was supposed to be music.
Because it's a PowerPoint and it's meant to be a Google slide.
Ah. Is it muted right now? Yeah, it's part of it. I'm not too worried about the sound. I'm going to come back and talk through what we just saw. So last sprint review, I showed you guys our reactor room. This sprint, we've started working on the control room for our reactor. So as I've kind of explained previously, this is a game about communication between players. So in this specific level, one player is a boss or a supervisor that is giving instructions to other players. The boss lives in this room. Note that there is a number and an image on this monitor. We're going to come back to that. This is the reactor. We saw this before. It's pretty. I like it. Important here, we now have multiplayer. As you can see, we're just floating balls right now, but it's a start. Not only can we see each other as players, but the game knows what's going on for all players. So our game uses randomized sequences for its core gameplay loop. All of the clients are seeing the same sequence. When one player presses a button, the other players can also see them pressing a button. So all of the functionality we needed for multiplayer is there. We have voice chat. We have a lobby system that we're implementing, and that's gone really well. So we get into gameplay. This number and this image, they correspond with a button that is on the reactor that one of the players needs to hit. So the boss character will use this information and then communicate it to the other player. In this case, the number represents where in a sequence a button must be pressed. So if you need to press 2 buttons, the first button would be a button that has gold scales on it. The second button in this sequence would be clouds. So as you can see, gold scale button, clouds button, there's another sequence. We show that being done as well. This is significant. It's very simple, but it is part of the core of our gameplay, and so we're really happy to have all that in this early. But that's not all I wanted to show. We have a lot of art that's not in the game yet. As you saw on our reactor, we have 140 buttons. So there's a lot of placeholder assets right now that we have to replace. None of those are staying in the game. So I wanted to show off what some of these buttons look like that we are building. So we want to keep it wacky and lighthearted.
This isn't a serious game. This is a game about having fun with your friends. So we've asked our artists to get really creative and to create some really kind of funky, attractive buttons, and I think they're doing a really great job with it so far. Here we go. So we've got some more here. Again, you saw our placeholder clip art was kind of a fun jumping off point, but it gave us some ideas about diversifying the way the game looks. And so we think this will be a lot of fun as we get it implemented over the course of the next 2 sprints. On top of those buttons, we're looking at some other concepts in terms of things that you have to communicate to players. So one of the things we're looking at is creating buttons that have symbols on them that are difficult to describe. So if I, as a player, need to describe to another player what the button at the bottom row, second from the left is, I might say it's a button with a guy juggling wearing a pointy hat on it. Or at the top right second row, a button that looks like it has a fish hook. A button that looks like it has an antenna on top of it. Stuff like that. Beyond that, we're building out our lobby area, so we have a break room where players are going to congregate before the round starts. As I think some of you know, we did Call Center Simulator over the course of the last year. We have a lot of assets for offices with Monster Vault, so we're going to reuse a lot of those, and we're creating more assets to supplement the things that we just didn't already have. We have another environment that is in its early stages now. We wanted to show that as well because we're proud of it. And we have a character model that is coming along. So this is all kind of in process, but we did want to show you behind the scenes what we've been working on. Can't wait to show you what we've done in another 3 weeks. Thank you.
We didn't talk about this part, but I guess I will. Let me pull up the agenda because I don't remember what things are timed for. So after we're done here, leads meeting at noon to noon 30. Team meetings. So that's getting together, working on that, sprint planning, recording your stand-up, getting that uploaded. 12:30 to 1:30, like usual, we've got the leads meeting. Lynn will probably want to keep that short. Just double check that we've got everything sorted out. And then also your discipline meetings. Hugh, you guys are meeting in?
Actually, they're not being held today because it's about...
Yeah, just come find us if you have a need to test and work with your teams today.
Never mind, I'm a puppet with a delay today, so.
We tricked you.
Yeah. So that pretty much wraps up everything. Just make sure, again, Lees, that you've got your builds. Also, so I don't have the assignment because I don't do assignments, but how do you guys want everybody to be handling the that playtesting feedback that they're giving? Do you have a specific time period you guys want everybody going out and starting to do that? Or...
Okay. You scroll down, it should be included there. Testing. Alright, so we might shift that time a little bit. We'll talk about it in the leads meeting, what works best for everybody.
Okay. So that's it. Go have fun making games.
Don't leave yet.
We're not. Never mind.
Shut the recording down now.
Goodbye, online students.